Hey friends, today I'm going to show you how to draw a cute little house. I'm just using some really basic supplies. I have a regular pencil here and a tiny piece of cardstock. Starting with some simple shapes to kind of form the roof of the house. It does help to have a little picture for reference, so if you have a photo of something you can have handy, or even just a simple drawing nearby you can look at. You gotta make sure you're getting all the angles right because the roof can be a little tricky. Just play with the angles and see what you like. Now these are all really simple shapes. I just almost had a trapezoid. I didn't put the bottom onto that shape, and then I did a triangle also without a bottom over that one. You could use a ruler if you wanted to get your lines really straight, or you could just eyeball it, kind of guess. Give a little window on the top. Now I have a plan for the bottom of the house because I kind of know what I'm doing on this one, so I'm not going to worry about the base. I'm just going to draw some vertical lines on both sides of the house to give it some sort of framework. Give a skinny window on one side, a wide window on the other, and then an outline for a door. I'm not doing too much detail because right now I'm just doing a little simple sketch with pencil that's going to be covered over later on when we use a small ink pen. And I want to have a little picket fence on both sides of the house, so I'm forming my fence shape, putting those little scallop edges on there, and then everywhere I have a little indentation on the top, I'm just drawing a vertical line for the fence posts. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. I like to go really light with the pencil when I'm just doing my basic sketch in the background. That way if I need to erase, which I do a lot, I can do it without any issues. And again, I have a plan for the bottom of the house, so I'm not going to worry about ending the fence. I'm just going to draw those lines going straight down and then kind of create some little stairs that lead up to the door of the house. Now, I know I mentioned going over everything with an ink pen, but that's going to come at the very end. So right now I'm just going over all of my little markings with some colored markers. Fill in the windows here. Always test out your markers. Have a little piece of scrap paper nearby where you can test them out to see what colors you like, because once you put it on the paper, you're committed. And because I know I'm going to be outlining everything later with a fine line, I don't have to get these squares perfectly formed. They just have to be colored in, a little basic shape, and I'll go over them later. When I outline them with a nice crisp line, that'll make them look even. Maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense for the windows and the roof to be the same color, but it works, so I'm going with it. I'm using a slightly darker gray to do the pitch of the roof, just to make it stand out a little bit, and so it looks like a different color than what you see in the background. Now I really want it to look like there's some plants behind the fence post, so I'm going with the really fine line of green in between the fence posts just to make it look like there's something back there and it's not just house that we can see in between the fence. And I'll also put a little bit on top so it looks like some of whatever's growing back there is poking out over the top of the fence as well. Now we'll color the house. I wanted to do a nice bright color, so I've got a light yellow. This one is showing up a little darker at first, but it does dry fairly light, so I'll have a couple of shades of yellow ready to go just in case I want some areas where it's maybe a little darker yellow and certain spots where there might be a shadow. I'm just avoiding the window area and the door because I know that I want to leave those white, and then I'll also outline them later to make them stand out. So another thing you can do with these markers is if you have a really light color marker like this one I'm using right now, which is a super light gray, you can go over anything you want and it will give a sort of a shadow look. It will take whatever color you have that you're going over and give it a slightly darker tint to it. So I'll just go over some areas where I might want to see a little bit of shadow, probably on the stairs, and maybe a little bit under the awning of the roof and things like that. Now for the really fun part, I want to have some bushes in the front of the house so it looks like all kinds of plants, maybe a garden or something is growing. But before I go in with the greenery, I'm putting in a little bit of pink, starting with some light pink. Then I'll go over it with some hot pink so it looks like there's flowers growing in the bushes. it would be really hard to put in pink once I already have the green there. So I'm doing the pink first, and I'll build the green around it and in between it wherever I feel like it should be. Using a really light green, I'm going in the background here, just at the base of the fence, to cover up where I didn't end my fence, and putting some tall green grass. And then with a medium green, I'm coming in and just doing some bushes, a little bit of light green, maybe lining where the stairs are leading up to the front door, and a little bit in between the pinks so it can look like there's some green growing around the flowers. Again, always test your markers before you use them, because this green looks very different from what's on the cap, and so I would have been surprised if I hadn't tested this first. Now with an even darker green, just go in and put a little bit of shadow. We just don't want it to look like it's only one shade of green everywhere, so we'll go and put some little darker areas where there's some different things growing, or maybe it's just a shadowy area. And now this tiny drawing is just about done. I have my tiny fine line drawing pen that I'm going in to do some detail, putting some shingles on the roof by just drawing some horizontal lines, filling in some of that space in there. And then I'll outline over everything to get a nice crisp line. Keep everything nice and even. And don't forget to outline your windows and doors. Keep those nice straight lines. I'm going around each individual glass window pane to make sure those stand out as well. You can add in any details you might have forgotten, like a doorknob. And then for the stairs, all I'm doing is varying horizontal lines. I'm doing some that are close together and some that are farther apart, and that will make it look like the staircase. Let's trace around each individual fence post to make them stand out, because they're getting a little lost among the greenery. And then I just went in to give the little connector pieces that are in the back, and those you can barely see, but just add a little extra detail and make it really fun. Now in this area at the base of the fence where we had that neon green, I'm just drawing some little lines of grass, and then I'm outlining around all these messy bushes that are in front of the house. I'm just doing a little squiggly line, kind of drawing all kinds of little shapes in there to make it look like there's little leaves and flowers sticking up all over the place. And then finally, because this is supposed to be a wooden house, I'm now doing very slight vertical lines all over the yellow part of the house so it can look like wood grain, like these are boards that put the old house together.